Hi, I'm Kristin Omdahl and welcome back to my studio. I have been watching on TV and in movies these beautiful tassel earrings lately, seeing them swish on people, and I decided it was time to finally make my own pair. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make these gorgeous beaded tassel earrings. We're not going to be knitting, we're not going to be crocheting, we're going to be using a little bit of Be So Fine yarn, which is my bamboo fingering weight yarn. It's silky and soft and swishes beautifully as tassels. And we're going to be using the Boy Tassel Maker and some really simple supplies that you can find at any craft store. I'm going to choose a pair to put on here. I'm going to try the Calypso Lime. Wanted to show you how beautifully they sit, whether you're wearing your hair down or up. They move so beautifully when you move, and I find that anytime you wear an accessory that moves when you move, it just adds an extra flair of romantic and sexy vibe. They just drape so beautifully on your neck or next to your neck. And I'm going to show you how to make them at a particular size, and you could trim them shorter to fit your neck length better, or you could make them longer, but we'll go over that a little later in the video. Let's get started. As you can see, there are some similarities and some differences in the different earrings that I've made. They all have the tassel, but then we chose where we put the beads in a variety of ways using a variety of different types of beads. Some of them have small beads, some of them have these larger disco ball beads, which I think are fabulous, but all of them have the spacer bead below it and a jump ring above it. So I just quickly go over these so you can see the different styles that we've done. You could use beads in your stash. You could find any of these at your local craft store. You're definitely going to need a pair of French hooks. You're definitely going to need a set of jump rings. Make sure you get solid jump rings and not split rings so that the yarn doesn't get stuck in there or they don't open up. You're going to need a couple of beads, preferably something that matches the yarn, and a couple of spacing beads. You could do them on the bottom or on the top or on the top and bottom. It's up to you. And you're going to need some yarn. We're using Be So Fine yarn. I sell it in a miniature tidbit size that's under $10. Comes in 23 colors, and I've chosen some colors that go really beautifully with these beads that I picked out. We're going to be using the Boy Tassel Maker, which can be adjustable to all of these different sizes. And what you want to do is pull back the tabs just under the length you're wanting to make for your tassel. So I want to make my tassels this long, so I'm going to pull back the next several tabs and fasten them like that. You'll notice we have some tabs up here. That's for tying our first piece of yarn. We have another tab here, which we'll look at later. So now we want to pick our yarn and cut a piece about 8 inches long, and we're going to wrap it in that top tab on one side, wrap it around into the tab on the other side, and come back around and wrap it in the first tab again. So we've come all the way around. I like having my tails on the side where I'm not wrapping. So I'm right-handed, so I'm going to be wrapping like this. If you were left-handed and wrapping like this, you want to make sure your tails are not where you're going to be doing the physical motion of wrapping. Otherwise, they could get caught. I'm going to use Aloha Blue. I think this looks like a fun color. I'm going to grab the yarn and position it at the bottom here. We're going to wrap however many times you think your tassels should be. If you're doing a skinny tassel, you won't need a lot of wraps. If you're doing a thicker tassel, you'll need a lot more. For this particular earring size, I did 50 wraps. Okay, we've got our 50 wraps. I'm going to grab my scissors and just cut the yarn there. We're going to come back up to this piece that we had attached at the top, and you want to take each end out of the tabs, hanging on to everything so that it all stays in place. You want to slide one of these tails to the right side of the work and one to the left side of the work, like that. So we've got this tail on this side and this one on this side. I'm going to slide them up to the top of the tab like that, and we're going to tie them into a knot. Okay, so now we have our tassel secured. Now we want to make our second wrap and tie right here, which is what gives us the tassel. So we're going to be tying this one next. So we'll cut another piece of yarn about the same length, and we're going to insert it into the tab, into this hole here, come around the other side and pull it through the side slot so we get both pieces into the center. Okay, and we're going to tie this. Into a knot. So now we have everything secured. We're going to come back here to the bottom, slide our scissors up into the tassel maker, and cut across all of the strands on the bottom side of the tassel. Holding our top tails that we tied the top piece with, we're going to slide it off the top of the tassel maker, and there is our finished tassel. Now we're not quite done. We want to clean this up a little bit. So we're going to take our yarn needle, and anything besides those two pieces that are at the top, we're going to weave in those ends. Just weave them right into the tassel. Okay, now that we've woven in all of those pieces, it's time to trim the end of our tassel. And you want to pull it down flat. If you're having trouble getting your yarn flat, you could hit it with the steam iron real quick. Just a couple of really light taps with the steam will make the yarn lay flatter. You can trim again once you have them standing up, like once you have the earring made and in an earring holder or on somebody, you could trim it again. But for now, I think that that looks great. We're going to use a beading needle to get the yarn through the beads. Trimming them the same length first helps to get them through at the same time. Okay, so now we've got our yarn in the beading needle. We'll start with one of the spacing beads, one of the disco ball beads, and a second spacing bead. Like that. Okay, now we'll take the beading needle off, and we're going to separate the strands of yarn and place the jump ring through only one strand. If you have trouble getting it in there, just put one of the strands of yarn back through the beading needle, back through the jump ring. Okay, by putting one strand only into the jump ring, you have the ability to now tie the yarn to the jump ring. If you place both of them in there, you won't be able to tie it. Okay, so we'll tie the yarn to the jump ring. Now you can come back and individually take each strand of yarn, bead back onto the beading needle, and thread it back through the beads to weave in these ends. And there'll be less room in there now, so it will take a little more finesse to actually get it back through. but with a little patience, you can do it. If you're using beads that do not have enough space in the holes to make it back through with another strand of yarn in the beading needle, you could always use some glue to glue that knot before cutting it really short, but this would obviously be the more secure way to join it. So we've got one end through, and we'll do the other. They're fabulous. So now we can cut those, trim them nice and short. Okay, we are getting close to a finished earring here. Okay, so all that's left now is to add the French hook to the jump ring. And this is where you'll need a pair of pliers, actually, or 2 pairs of pliers. What we're going to do is pull this end, the bottom end of the French hook, we're going to pull it open by twisting one towards us and one away from us. It's kind of like a split ring stitch marker where it's open, and it's a very malleable piece of wire, so you can easily open it and close it. Okay, so we've got it open now. And we can slide our jump ring into that hole. And then we'll close it back up. So now the tricky part is getting that ball on the French hook high enough so that you can close the jump ring below the ball. And it may take some practice. You may not get it on the first time, but that's okay. With a little patience, you can definitely handle this. And look at the reward you will have when you are finished with your efforts. You will have made an incredibly gorgeous pair of tassel earrings that is so dramatic and beautiful and romantic and sexy. And my God, it takes about 10 minutes to make them. They make wonderful gifts for anybody on your list. You can make them in every color of the rainbow to complement everything in your wardrobe. I'd love to see your tassel earrings. Please tag me in any photos of the earrings that you make. If you follow the link in the video description, you can download the free step-by-step tutorial and get information on ordering all of your supplies, including Be So Fine yarn. Please leave me any questions in the comments, and please subscribe to my channel for more videos.